So this will be my first story time. Lots of feelings about that. I hate talking about this stuff. Alright, so really quick, you might see a drastic difference in how I look. Like, from the puffiness in my face to possibly like weight fluctuations, and it's been maybe 2 weeks of filming since I've started this. And the truth be told, I have been dealing with a rejection of my transplanted organs. Oh, it's dropping a lot.
And
like the bombs feel real heavy right now. And I have 2 new kidneys. We could talk about this another time. But is now the time to talk about it? Who wants to do that? Like, not me. Okay. In the past few weeks, a lot of my bloopers are probably going to be in like one compilation. And you'll compare that possibly to the earlier videos, which will be like me building the studio. And visually, I would have changed what seems to me to be a lot. Maybe not that much, but it seems to be like a thing. You might even catch a glimpse of the beauty. It's hot. My kidneys failed in 2009. I was 24, and I had gotten my first job at a capital investment firm. I'm having a rice cake. It's the worst shit in the world, but the girl's trying to be healthy. Fast forward from Jacksonville, that was like 2007, we're looking at around 2009. I get diagnosed. I got diagnosed in an interesting way. I thought I was depressed. I wasn't eating well. Stomach was constantly unsettled. I was trying to eat extremely healthy, eating a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, and I was getting thinner, and I felt sick and ill all the time. So I thought I was getting depressed, honestly. I'd had a history of like an eating disorder, and so I was really worried that, okay, depression, I'm going back to old ways, and here we go. And like a week later, they had finally tested like urine and blood, and they said, you need to go to the emergency room right now. Your kidneys are at 6% function. You've got protein all through your urine, and I think that's called proteinuria, something like that. And I definitely was just like, well, what the hell's going on? And unfortunately, I've always been a very transparent person. I should have gone to my boss and been like, well, I'm having an emergency. Talk to you later.
Instead, I was like, the doctor just told me I gotta go to the hospital. Maybe I don't have kidneys anymore.
Don't ever tell your bosses that. They really don't give a fuck. They never give a real fuck. It's just extra information that they can then extrapolate upon, and eventually it always deteriorates to just kind of like talking shit. Just being like,
what did she do to get that?
So I went in there, went through the admission process, talked to a doctor, and they start laying out what's going to happen. We're going to have to put you on dialysis to clean your blood. Here are your labs. Here are your numbers. To clean your blood, we've got to attach you to this machine. Normally we'll put needles inside of you, but you do not have the correct blood vessel structure, which is something that we create at a later time. To place the actual fistula or the venous structure for hemodialysis, because a person doesn't walk in with 6% kidney function. Under normal circumstances, they are being followed by a doctor, and this impending kidney failure is known, and they are preparing for it. I was completely asymptomatic for something that I might have been going through for several years. They said, since you do not have the proper venous structure, we'll have to place it at a later date. We're going to stick a needle in your throat, insert a tube. We'll put a couple stitches to hold it there, and this will be the device that goes into some of your major arteries, very close to your heart. But it allows for us to get a major blood vessel access so that we can clean the volume of blood throughout your body. And that's what these scars would be. I have so many, and this is where they actually put it in. And one of them isn't so bad, and another one is very pronounced, because that one got ripped out. Shit happens in dialysis. But, and these down here where they put in the stitches. And like I said, there's two. But one of them healed pretty nicely, and the others did not. And then they took me in, and I went into a somewhat private-ish room with only 2 or 3 dialysis machines. I remember having like visions or coming in and out of sleep / consciousness, strange dreams. And I was on there for about 4 hours. And it became the most fucked up, weird episode of House. Mind you, there are mental side effects to the increased amount of creatinine in your blood. And that's basically just an excess of toxins in your bloodstream. And when it gets pulled out very quickly, it can cause strange mental side effects of like not quite understanding where you are. And the thing with mental side effects is that you as a human, like crazy people don't know that they're crazy. You as a person still think you have a grip on what's happening until you don't. And you don't pick it up. Somebody has to tell you, oh, no. None of this that you are thinking you're processing is understood by you fully. Let's get someone else in here who can advocate for you. I'm going from the ICU to a regular room, being followed by several different doctors, going to many different specialists. I went to a hematologist, who does the thyroid and hormone stuff. And then I went to, of course, they had a couple of the kidney doctors who were making rounds. And unfortunately, even off the machine and in my bed, the faces started to blend together. The meetings started to blend together. I wasn't holding the facts anymore. And at that point, I had to call my mom to come down, and just like I needed someone to be there, because I'm not handling this as well as I thought I would. Or in reality, under most circumstances, nobody has to handle that on their own. But I had always been very used to dealing with life without a whole lot of support, I guess. So my mom came up from South Florida to Massachusetts. And I think my sister was there with me too, but like I said, it was so blurry. And they kept me there for weeks, or at least over a week. And I was frustrated, and I wanted to go back to work. And I'm sorry, this is an MO that you're going to see about me a lot when it comes to my health, is my insistence that I get back to work. And I guess we'll come back to that. After everything, we tried to figure out what the cause was. And in the end, I was diagnosed with IgA nephropathy. Nephropathy? Nephropathy. And it's an autoimmune disease, which means my body attacked my kidneys. And in actuality, it was a syndrome where my body attacked my kidneys and my lungs. I believe it's Pasteur's syndrome. Under most circumstances, I believe those people need to have a transplant of both organs, the lungs and the kidneys. And I was lucky enough not to have that be the case. there was a period of time where they were truly trying to reverse the effects of the kidney failure. And that was when I was put on plasmapheresis for the first time. And plasmapheresis is, and you know what, I might put in a little definition over here or something, but plasmapheresis is the separation of your blood cells from the plasma, and then it is usually replaced with albumin, something that acts as a artificial plasma as your body recreates it. So in some people, there is an opportunity to remove what's the antibodies that are destroying your kidneys through that process, because they would live, I suppose, in the plasma, or they would be lighter or heavier than the actual blood cells that are kept, and it would leave with the plasma. Once again, I've done it again recently for a different reason, but we'll get to that.